going on, CALIVEGANs, and welcome into another episode of the CALIVEGAN podcast, the number one and only calisthenics podcast to help vegan men build muscle and become a role model for the vegan movement and the people around them. Today I am training push. For the ones that are tuning in, drop some questions. I think today we're going to touch about nutrition, the China study, which is the book that I'm reading, as well as how it is confirming a less scientific based kind of book, which is the 80-10-10 diet book, which is about a fruitarian diet, so or a fruit-based diet with low fat. So the first question is perfect for what I wanted to say at the beginning. Do you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or MMA? No, I do kickboxing, and I want to remind you that this Saturday I have my kickboxing fight, 2-minute rounds amateur at 79 kilograms. I'm going to go live on my Instagram Saturday evening Central European time. I don't know what time I'm going to be fight. You're going to have to be to stay tuned. I'll send a notification on my stories on Saturdays, as well as on through my email, and and I'll post my fight as well. So I'll start with my first set. Today is push. Going to do planche. Drop some questions because I love to keep this kind of content interactive and answer your questions, guys. Oh, let's go. All right. So a very long time I'm not planching, so hopefully this is not going to be a complete disaster. Again, for the people who are tuning in, drop some questions. Actually, not to make sure I'm not going to do a disaster, I'm just going to do a one leg planche. Right. 10 seconds. Was it 10 seconds? One leg planche. I think actually I'm going to keep it 10. I'm going to keep it one leg planche. And like one of the best tips that I can give you when it comes to calisthenics is being humble. All right, never try to do more than you can do, and also understand that staying where you're at and progressing from there, it's still going to get you in the future to where you want to go. So what it means is that I hate these guys. These guys are ruining my content creation. Hopefully you can hear me fine with noisy background. Like for example now, right, I'm going back to planche training. It's been almost 2 months that I don't do planche training because of the strength endurance competition that had a specific approach to training that I was following. So I definitely lost some strength. Before I was doing planche with the legs completely extended. Okay, but I'm not pushing to do what I was doing because it might be too hard. Cool. Thanks for confirmation that the sound is cool if I'm like this. So I don't need to push for that harder variation that I was doing before. It's better that I keep it easier so I can I can be more effective in doing enough effective working volume. Because maybe if I go full planche, what happens is I might need to break the form, so the technique is not very good, and perhaps I cannot do enough volume, I cannot hold it for that long. So never be afraid of stepping back in your training and focus perhaps on easier variation where you can really master the technique and the execution. And thank you for being my Call DB is giving me tips on the audio quality with noisy background, and so yeah, it's better to step back, doing something that's easier and prioritize technique instead of being stuck of wanting to do the harder variation. Okay. So the 10 seconds with I don't remember which leg I extended. I think it was the left one. So yeah, I think this is what we did. And 12 seconds. That's good. 10 seconds. So it's been cool. So first of all, if you're on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and in the comment, let me know what was the most interesting part of this episode. And if you want to come live and interact, come to my Instagram. This is where I do the lives, usually at 12 p.m. Central European time. And do the same thing on Instagram. Like, follow me, leave a comment. Let me know if you have any questions and about what we talked about and what was your favorite part of the podcast. So we had a question about calories. Guys, drop the questions. I love to keep these lives interactive and not just ramble about things, but answer your specific questions. How many calories do you typically eat per day? So right now I'm eating 2,800 calories, is somewhat around my maintenance. Also because usually during the weekend I go over it, especially on Saturday. I have a cheat day, I don't count calories, and I snack more throughout the day. Perhaps I go to a restaurant, so I might eat 3,500, 4,000 calories on a Saturday. So I guess my caloric target for maintenance would be around like 3,200 calories, something like that. And so, I think the most interesting correlation between the 80-10-10 book about the fruitarian diet and the China study is, well, obviously that mostly plants is the way to go. In fact, all the discoveries that they were doing about increased protein intake and the correlation to more protein to the development of cancer was not related to protein in general, but only to animal protein. So it's very interesting to kind of know. Like before reading the China study, my mind wasn't that clear and open on, you know, how animal products affect our health. But the China study it goes very deep in explaining why, how, and what kind of studies and tests they have done in order to come to the conclusion that animal products are carcinogen and they promote cardiovascular diseases. Right, so 12 seconds again. Whew. All right, and actually and that's the most important thing, right? But also, and you know, the 80-10-10 diet talks about this, talking on how too much fat is still bad. And so actually, this was something that I've always done myself at the beginning of my plant-based journey. I was not eating enough calories and caused me to be tired. Like, I really experienced some bad symptoms caused by an uncontrolled caloric deficit, low libido, headache, brain fog, constant low energy levels. And I realized it was because I wasn't eating enough calories. So my conclusion there at the beginning was going into more fat, because nuts help you get in more calories, right? Because they're higher in fat. Okay, so I think that, you know, is not like as bad as animal products, of course. But if we want to move forward towards better food choices that promote optimal health, right? So it's, again, it's just a way of exploring healthier choices. I think in order to do fine with your health in life, this is not something that you necessarily need to do, but why not trying to move towards it? And is the fact that, again, in the 80-10-10 book, says that good fat, too much good fat is still bad. So the fact that we're eating polyunsaturated fats from nuts and avocado, whatever, it doesn't mean that that's good, because fat still higher amount of fat still what's the English word? Still stays in the blood and reduces the ability of the arteries to absorb nutrients. So we just need enough fat in our diet, which is about 10% of our calories that should be coming from fat. You don't need more than that. Alright, so if I'm not wrong, I did left, right, left, and now I should extend my right. Oh. All right. Let's call it 10 seconds. And the China study book confirms that, the more cholesterol in the blood, it's related to higher risks of cardiovascular diseases and cancers. So, I think it's fair to say that we should limit our fat consumption to 10% of our total calories for better health. Again, like if you're already vegan, eating a mostly whole plant food diet, you are already doing amazing for your health. You're very likely not to risk cancers and diseases because you are massively lowering the risk of cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, and cancers. But it's just a point of, because here's the thing with the science in general right now, the statements that they make, they're all based on a sick society, okay? And the real goal of science is being disease-free, okay? They don't necessarily talk about optimal health, which perhaps is not necessary, but why not? I guess some people want to try and optimize their health if who else is high as fuck right now? Funny. But yeah, so if you want to optimize your health more, understand that, too much of good fat is also too much. You want to limit your fat intake to 10-15% of your total calories. Actually, the 80-10-10 book says 10, but I think 15 is not going to be a big deal. So brother, how many grams of protein do you eat per day? So I eat about 70 grams of protein per day. Ooh, handstand push-up. Okay, now it's going to be fun because it's a long time I don't do them. Let's see what I can do. Was that 5 or 6? I think it was 5. Okay. I'm happy with 4 sets. 4 sets of 5 today. But yeah, like I'm really switching my mindset on thinking that focusing on protein actually does more bad than good. What builds muscle anyway is getting stronger, and also like what kind of goal it is, to focus on building muscle. I think, at the end of the day, what's really important and what really increases your quality of life is having a functional, stronger body. Again, functional, stronger body equals more muscle. Like, there is no way around it. But what I'm saying is, like, optimizing protein intake for more muscles, I think at this point it really doesn't make sense for me anymore. And I also think that if you have a healthy diet, high in fruits, high in carbohydrates, and available, digestible carbohydrate that come from fruit, your energy levels will be higher. You will be able to push harder doing the workout and getting stronger, which will result in more muscle because you're getting stronger. Okay, and so this is actually also the point that I now agree to, that the 80-10-10 book does, which, if you focus on more protein, okay, if you do focus on more protein, you end up eating less of what's a better food for you to promote health, which is fruits. So that's how I approach mainly my diet right now. The one leg plank you just did, is that just for targeting the abs, or does it also target the arms? Because you're holding yourself up. There's a big misconception about calisthenics in general, and I'm going to answer that in a second. Amor, ¿me metes la mano?
¿Qué?
¿Me aguantas las piernas?
Sí, pero voy a salir en el video.
Estás ahí. Bueno. She's not dressed up for a live. Nada, da igual, lo hago diferente. Lo voy a hacer así, aguantando abajo. Okay. I used to do more. So, okay, for today, first workout back to proper calisthenics. I'm happy to do less repetitions. I will increase the reps in the following weeks. So again, is the one leg plunge just for the abs? So this is a common misconception about calisthenics that people always think when they see these calisthenics exercises like the front lever, the planche. The first thing people say is, "Oh, is that for you got very strong core?" But let's see if I can give a quick demonstration. So if I lay down here, for example, right, you can all try to do this. All of you can do it. So this is what really the core is doing, that holding the legs up, and obviously, the core in position, but that's not necessarily very hard for the core. These advanced calisthenics skills are well, in this case, is going to be shoulder mainly, chest, and also bicep, because I'm pushing this way, so the bicep is working, mainly bicep and shoulder, but also chest. The core is just stabilizing your body. And same thing from the front lever. When you're holding yourself on the bar, you're using your lats, you're using your bicep, and also your tricep, because with the straight, when you have a straight arm and you're pulling down, your bicep, your tricep is working as well. Right? That's why with calisthenics you can build muscle, because those exercises are not about core, are the major muscle group that actually hold yourself in those position. Drop some questions, guys, if you have them. Time for another set. I'm definitely not going to be able to do 5 reps. What can I do? All right, I'll do presses to add some volume. See how that goes. Not super well. All right, we are happy. We are happy for today. Again, it's like my first workout back to full like calisthenics and intensity, so we're happy for today on doing a little bit less repetitions. Did you eat more protein per day before you started upping your fruit so much? Yes, of course. Like this is how society is built. You know, like having this conversation about, eat low protein, it doesn't make a huge difference, it's aggressive, is highly controversial, even though it's clear that it's all about, it has been pumped up from marketing. Right, so obviously I was eating more protein. Obviously, 5 years ago when I wasn't vegan, I was eating always some meat in my snack, apart from my breakfast. But middle morning I would have sandwich with chicken. Lunch I would have. For lunch I would have an hamburger. With some pasta. For my snack in the afternoon, I would have tuna with some crackers. Proper bodybuilder bro diet. And in the evening again, I would have maybe fish, maybe chicken. So there was always meat in my meals. And when I went vegan, when I went vegan, likely I always had this concept that everything is in food, and I never really liked using supplements. So naturally I started to care less about protein. Also, I would say that I didn't really know how much protein I needed. I never really calculated it. So I just tried to eat more. I just made sure to eat legumes for the most part, really, in my main meals. And let's say I was eating a lot of nuts. But again, like, you know, my mind always never thought that much that protein was so important, you know. I was just, I think, brainwashed, like all of us, about these propaganda about protein. But I now understand that it really doesn't make sense to focus on protein, and has more negatives than positives to focus on protein. And what's really important for you guys to understand is that you will get results on low protein as well, because the propaganda is so strong that most people think that if you don't eat high amount of protein, you don't build muscle. But food doesn't build muscle. Training does. Oy. Okay, so this is also going to be kind of new. I need to find a comfortable position. All right. Honestly, so Call MDB says, honestly, I think it's all propaganda from the meat industry. Of course it is. Actually, in the China study, very interesting, since the scientist that wrote the China study has been in this for like 40 years. He was a farmer. So, you know, he lived the meat, dairy and eggs life very closely. And he talks about how these nutritional guidance has been created. And in the beginning, it was the meat industry itself who gave the first protein requirement, which were 120, so very high, as a minimum 120 for average male and female. And once real scientists started to make research and stuff, they drop it to what is now 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. But now, there is another important thing that you should consider when you think about protein. You think about protein, you worry about protein, and what you should consider is that protein deficiency does not exist, right? So protein is such a big conversation. Usually when I do posts about protein, like, engagement actually spikes. I just have to say protein at the beginning of my video and poof, I get more likes and more views. But it's all about this concept of more lean mass. But protein deficiencies do not exist. Like, you don't have people in the hospital with protein deficiencies. When you go to the doctor, they will never tell you have a protein deficiency problem, because that just doesn't exist. It only exists with malnutrition. The tattoo that you have, do you know that ink is in your blood now and it's not healthy? You know that, right? Yeah, I've done cocaine as well, if you want to know. I am not necessarily the health guru here. I'm not Gandhi or anything like that. I'm just going about life, learning things, doing my best to take care of myself, and helping you raise awareness for the animals. I'm not about perfection, but anyway, I don't think tattoos in the long term are that big of a deal. Or maybe yes, maybe the ink slowly goes into your system. I don't know. Anyway, it's too late. I have a lot of tattoos already. Can't take them off. The ink is there. I mean, I could take them off right these days, but I'm not gonna do it. And I want more tattoos. So yeah, that might going to kill me. This drop set, by the way, is very, 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 very hard. Ay, ay, ay. Oy. I'm asthmatic, by the way. And you know, talking more about the the fact that I'm not perfect, I realized that well, I always knew this, like you don't have to be perfect in order to share good knowledge. You can take the knowledge and try to be better than me. Like just like veganism. So many times people attack vegans because, or some things that perhaps they do better. I don't know. Whatever it is, right? If you don't grow your own vegetables and fruit organically, then you're not vegan. But obviously, that's an unpractical request. However, if you want to show that you care about a better world and you want to spare animal lives and not abusing animals, and also have the opportunity to grow your own vegetables, just be better than me. Instead of trying to hide behind the fact that I am not perfect. And the same thing with health, fitness, and nutrition, right? I don't have to. It's not like coaches are not allowed to talk about the best health practices if then they get tattoos which apparently are unhealthy. I didn't know. Actually, I did know something about it, but never really. But I never, never really dug deep in it to understand more about the negative health effect of tattoos, to be honest. Or if I drink in the weekend, it doesn't mean that I cannot talk about best health practices. And also, for you, it doesn't mean that you cannot drink. For you, it doesn't mean that if you do drink and you have some unhealthy habits, it doesn't mean that the rest of the time you cannot push for those healthy habits. Okay? Well, that's set. This drop set is hard. I don't want to do it. And I think I'll continue after the drop set. I would like to have something a little higher to make it a little easier. Just a little easier like this. Yes, no, should be a bit easier than going full range of motion. Yes. She's not hearing anything, listening to something. Okay, come on, last one. and the end. Okay. So yeah, an important thing that I have understood about when it comes to coaching people is that, you know, I'm always promoting like the cheat day, right? I always say it's fine eating some processed food, whatever, drinking alcohol in moderation is fine, but in reality it's not fine. It's not fine. And I have realized this especially recently as I'm opening my eyes to what really means to strive for optimal health. And I realized that the attachment to other food that are not as optimal are not a necessity, and they usually are another form of addiction. So I think that you might need moderation, just like I need moderation. I like to have a cheat day, but the concept that you need this moderation in order to sustain your diet over time, like you need that cookie, you need that beer on Saturday, it's not reality. It's just feeding you more weak thoughts. The reality is we should strive to be 100% to make 100% healthy choices, the healthiest choices that we can make. But I understand, like you have in this world, most people don't do the healthiest choice, so you might have social meetings where you're kind of forced or just more motivated to make unhealthy choices, and that's fine. That's fine, but you don't need that. You don't need that. And if you can just make healthy choices, just do that. With my clients as well, it happens sometimes. I suggest that a cheat day can work for them, but actually, often many of my clients don't actually need a cheat day. A lot of my clients, they don't drink alcohol. They prefer to eat healthy all the time. And that's better. That's fine. If you do that, just do that, right? I'm actually perhaps a bad example, right? With my problem with addiction. Like I have been abstaining from alcohol for 2 months, more than 2 months now, 2 months and 1 or 2 weeks. But it's mainly because I'm motivated from my kickboxing fight. I didn't want to ruin my recovery by drinking during the weekend. But I'm already, I don't know why, but I'm already convinced that I'm going to drink that day. And but I don't know. As you know, guys, I've progressed, so I use less and less alcohol, less unhealthy choices. But I have learned that at some degree, you also have to allow things to happen. If that's what at the end of the day you really feel like you want to do. But again, it's not an example to follow, right? I'm going to do that. That doesn't mean that it's okay to do that if you feel like it's better for you not to do that, because it's better for you and your health not to drink, and always prioritize the most nutritious and healthiest food over anything else. All right, there was a good rambling of words. And I'm a bit late, but let's do this. If you're a vegan man and you're trying to build muscle, you want to do it with a training that is more stimulating, it's more fun, I can help you do that with calisthenics. I've already worked with more than 200 vegan men, changed their life, get in the best shape, increase their confidence, and become a role model for the vegan movement and for the people around them. I will guide you with a training, nutrition plan, and accountability, so you have clarity, and anytime you feel stuck, I will help you get unstuck and keep making progress, as well as connecting with other like-minded individuals in my CALIVEGAN community, private CALIVEGAN community, which is only for clients. If you need help with coaching, just drop me CALIVEGAN in the DM on Instagram, Stefano Vegan Calisthenics, and we'll talk about your goals. All right, so before I leave, let's answer. And it's crazy that the fitness industry consider 1 gram per kilogram a low amount when that's still above what is recommended as the minimum daily according to science. Huge point. Very good point. But the reason is because they are obsessed with the highest one. They are obsessed with the 1.6 this is because it's just part of culture at this point, I think. Also for me, it's been difficult to detach from it. Even though, as I said earlier, like for me, it was, I was never about protein shakes. I was always about, nutrition and food as everything that we need. Likely I had the mentality from the beginning, but at the same time, it's been difficult for me to detach. I always had that fear. What's going to happen if I stop eating protein? What's going to happen if I stop taking creatine? I do think that eating more fruit is healthy. Is healthier, but what about the protein? So I had that fear as well because it's so ingrained in culture. But it's very weird at the same time because it's just untrue. Like even basic science, the same science that these people follow, don't really say that that's what you have to go for, the 1.6 gram of protein or 2 grams of protein, which is over the highest limit anyway. You can build muscle and get results with less. Really the only reason why higher protein intake is promoted is to promote these lean mass, which is promoted anyway from training. So it's very weird that it's such a huge narrative and story around it. I think it's because it's really connected with other, cultural and traditional factors, like just the taste or the fact that, men are hunter, real men eat meat, and this kind of stuff. Thank you for the compliment about my tattoos. I have become too sensitive to alcohol and processed foods that they are no longer enjoyable. Justin, eat fruit. I think you are a fruitarian. Are you still alive? Let's see. Why it doesn't allow me to open that? But yeah, it's such a great point. And actually that's what happens to me as well. Like this journey of becoming more and more healthier and making lesser and lesser bad choices for my health when it comes to drinking and party, it makes you more and more realize that it's just damage to your health. Because when in the beginning I was deep into drug use, like my trauma and my mental struggles were so strong that I didn't really see the negative effect of alcohol. Like working in hangover was just normal for me. For me, it was better to feel shit during work than not going to party the day before. I even passed out once because of ecstasy, and I went to another party and I took another the other two. So I really wasn't seeing or feeling these negative health outcomes. But now, for example, if I will drink on Saturday, I would probably feel immediately that this hasn't been a very smart choice at the end of the day. But as I said before, I I have learned that, you know, sometimes it's not necessary to fight that hard against it, and just do it, and eventually in the long term I get better and better. You definitely don't need the unhealthy choice, but it's also okay to enjoy yourself sometimes too. But is it enjoyment or addiction? Because is it not more enjoyable, for example, to go on a hike and get on top of a mountain? Or is it better to drink alcohol at the bar? You know, it's okay to do it. Again, it's okay to do it and enjoy the moment. But at the end of the day, I think that we see those unhealthy choices as enjoyment just because it's cultural. But I think that the reality is that you might be better off doing healthy activity, sport, physical activity, instead of, because if you do, like, if you go for a hike for 6 hours up to a mountain, you'll probably be quite tired in the evening. You know, you'll be okay with the movie and sleep. But again, you can also enjoy a glass of wine. It's fine. Just Eat Fruit says protein is harmful to the body. The body synthesizes protein from amino acids and sugar. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's not like there is no protein from fruits and vegetables. There is fruit. There is protein in fruits and vegetables. I'll correct my statement to protein can be harmful in excessive amounts. So yeah, I'll say this and then I'm going to leave. So the China study talks about excessive protein being harmful only if it's animal protein. Actually, it doesn't talk about the harm coming from higher plant protein intake. But I think that going back to the 80-10-10 book about fruit-based diet, if we if we focus more on protein, it means that we're eating less of other nutrients and other foods. So it means that we are reducing our fruit intake, for example, which is the best and easier to digest food, which is the most optimal for humans. So there is this point, right? So, but again, like, it's not like it's very difficult to get 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, even 1 gram. So right now, again, I am eating 70 grams of protein per day, I think. So I have 30 seconds remaining, guys, for the live. I'm gonna leave. So if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know which was the most interesting part. If you have any questions, do you want me to expand on? And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.